brought to you by Pfizer.
In this video, you're going to see the future.
Hello there, you Awakening Wonders. Thanks for joining me today for Stay Free with Russell Brand. Vivek Ramaswamy coming up. If you're watching us anywhere than Rumble, our home where we can speak freely, where we can pet our dogs, where we can even insure our dogs. Have you seen Positive? Where we can drink our glorious coffee, where we can have fun together, making fun of the powerful. If you're watching it on YouTube, for example, you're going to have to click the link in the description to join us for our conversation with Vivek Ramaswamy. What a week it's been. Who knows what next week will bring? Trump says that we're going to Mars. Every single one of us is a Ziggy Stardust in waiting.
The world in space. Remember, I did Space Force. I did that. I rebuilt the military. I did a lot. But we have Space Force, first time in 79 years, since Air Force. First time, think of it, Space Force. And now we're leading in space over Russia and China. They were killing us when I took over, and now we're leading. But military, we're going to reach, and it's my plan. I'll talk to Elon. Elon, get those rocket ships going, because
Elon. I like how he talks.
We want to reach Mars before the end of my term. We want to do it. And we want to have also great military protection in space, because that's where it's going to be at.
Got to have good military protection in space. Kamala Harris could offer you sort of business loans or something. Business loans or frozen grocery prices. To hell with that. We're going to Mars with Trump and Elon. It's going to be fantastic. There's some pretty terrible things can go down in an airport environment. Sometimes you might see one of those sniffer dogs and think, oh no, it's the last thing I need. Do you mind, sir, if I just put this on and put this on? Those are terrifying moments. But imagine being the former head of the NIH, Dr. Francis Collins, and running into Alex Jones in an airport just by chance. I mean, that's going to ruin your holiday.
How you doing? All right. How are you? We're good. 20 plus million people dead from those shots. Well, truth's coming out about you and Fauci. How's it feel to kill more people than Hitler?
You're writing some folk songs about it? Go ahead. You're writing some folk songs?
You'll never get away with what you did, your bioweapon. You're in a lot of trouble. Nuremberg 2 is coming. We'll be exposing that guy. All of them are going to prison, Nuremberg 2. They can run, but they can't hide. The truth will get them. Mass murderers.
What a character. Old Alex Jones there. I like the initial moment where he's like, oh, hello, would you like an autograph or perhaps a tablet or a booster shot? And, oh, no, it's Alex Jones. This is a nightmare. You remember the fair and democratic process that led to the election of Kamala Harris? You know, there's nothing to worry about. You know, there never was I don't even remember Joe Biden, which, ironically, is like Joe Biden himself. Here's Nancy Pelosi claiming that there was an open primary when Biden stepped down and Kamala Harris won fair and square. I don't remember that.
You reportedly said you wanted a sort of an open primary if Joe Biden stepped down. Did you change your mind because you saw all the excitement around Kamala Harris?
No, I didn't change my mind. We had an open primary and she won it. Nobody else got in the race because she was politically astute. And
See, everything's okay. What's the problem? What are you questioning it for? Don't think. Maybe she's trying to illustrate what misinformation means. Posted Elon Musk in our country. Nigel Farage, former leader of Reform, engineer, many would say, of Brexit, former guest of the show, says that it's more likely that you'll go to prison for calling someone a paedophile than being a paedophile. I think in response to a very high-profile case here in this country where a BBC newscaster was found to have pretty appalling imagery on his phone pertaining to subjects that I don't even want to name out loud. Let's have a look at Farage making the claim.
It does seem rather odd that you can go to prison for calling someone a paedophile online, but not for being one. And that sort of double standard is how it looks to most people. And I think one of the problems that we've got, Mohammed, is whether it's policing, the way different groups are policed in different ways, whether it's the judicial system, I think there is a strong view that a two-tier approach is emerging. You know, two-tier Keir, people start to talk about.
Two-tier Keir is catching on. Globalist leader Keir Starmer, current Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Donald Trump is actually, it seems, acknowledging that there was some problems with Operation Warp Speed and the mRNA program. You hear Donald Trump say a lot of beautiful vaccines, so fast. But now Trump, it appears, could be about to admit that there was a problem with the vaccine program and maybe even the vaccines themselves. I can see the comments. I know you don't even like calling them that. I was just doing it for expedience. Don't call them vaccines. It means they've conquered your mind. mRNA gene therapies. If you watch this on YouTube, we'll be with you for another couple of minutes. Then we'll be speaking to Vivek Ramaswamy. Let us know in the comments and the chat what you think about some of Vivek's revelations when it comes to big tech and censorship, and consider becoming an awakened wonder. Join us for some fantastic additional content. For example, Russell Brand's stand-up breakdown, where I scrutinise, analyse and have fun reflecting on stand-up comedy greats. Doing George Carlin next week. We also do Bible studies and meditations and answer your questions directly. Let's have a look now at Donald Trump coming close to admitting, and I know a lot of you would like this, that there was something wrong with that medication.
On COVID, you frequently say at your rallies and so on that you don't feel like you get enough credit on COVID. But by nearly every assessment, the CDC failed miserably at job one. And yes, the COVID vaccines were developed in record time, but as we now know, they don't prevent infection, illness, or transmission, and they have very potentially serious side effects. Do you think that maybe they were approved too fast? And in hindsight, based on what we know now, what would you have done differently?
Well, I think they're doing studies on the vaccines, and we're going to find out, and it'll come out one way or the other. But I really had a mandate to get vaccines done, and I got them done very quickly in record time. The Democrats love it. You know, the Democrats love it, and the Republicans don't. It's very interesting. The vaccines, they love it.
They love it. It's funny, isn't it? Because it did become such a hotly politicised issue. It's odd, really, because that oughtn't be the approach to a medical solution to a problem that did not prevent transmission or ultimately, it appears, hospitalization, and increasingly, it seems, may have contributed to excess deaths. That's something that's just conjecture, obviously, at this point. But certainly the yellow card and VARS events do not look favourable. And it's been subsequently established that there are causal links to myocarditis and pericarditis that were potentially known about long before it was published, as well as the impact on menstruating and indeed potentially pregnant women. It seems that we are living in a time of great transition when it comes to that subject. And in a way, I see that as sort of a further evidence of Trump's kind of good faith, that he was just trying his hardest to get those mRNA products out there. At least there's going to be a study. Again, let me know in the comments if you agree with this. The Bobby Kennedy inclusion means, doesn't it, that there's going to have to be a reckoning in the event that Trump forms a government in November.
I have a friend of mine who said to me, why don't you talk about the vaccine, what you did with the vaccine? He's a Democrat, but I'm sure he voted for me. He said, what you did was the most incredible thing that any president has ever done. You've saved hundreds of millions of lives all over the world. And this was just recently, very smart guy. He said, I don't understand why you don't talk about it. And I don't talk about it. But if you go to Pfizer, if you go to some of these companies, they have charts and they have all sorts of statistics. And I say, why don't you release those statistics? Let people know. But I don't talk about it. I can say this, the Democrats would love to claim it. The Republicans don't want to claim it. But it'll be determined, I'd say, over the next 12 months. I say this in terms of overall, I think I did an amazing job with COVID. I never got the credit for it. Remember that more people died under Biden-Harris than died under Trump. And they had a much easier time because when it came in here, nobody knew what it was. It came from the Wuhan labs, which I always said, but nobody really knew what it was, where it came from, nothing. They knew nothing.
Interesting unraveling of a continually captivating story. If we reach the point where Trump says that was a mistake, or it was badly handled, or if it's empirically proven, further proven, that there was a net negative impact as a result of those medications and Trump's in government. I wonder if we will see the reckoning that many people have been praying for when it comes to some of the administrative bodies and administrators, as well as billionaire plutocrats that are able to exert incredible influence, even from non-governmental positions, from philanthropic positions, they'd call them, across the world. Hopefully we will. But that's just what I think. Why don't you let me know what you think in the comments and chat if you're watching this anywhere other than on Rumble, our home, or if you're not an Awaken Wonder yet. If you're not an Awaken Wonder yet, and there's so many reasons to become one, then you're going to have to click the link in the description and join us over on Rumble now for our conversation with Vivek Ramaswamy. Get over here, y'all, and join us. It's a really good conversation with Vivek. It's been up on Locals for a week. I was enthralled to hear his perspective on censorship, the cutting down of bureaucracy, and the new alliances that are suggested, and I believe now for the first time culturally possible, when you have figures like Tulsi Gabbard and Vivek Ramaswamy, Bobby Kennedy and Donald Trump all aligned, or at least in alliance. How can you claim that the bureaucratic centralists, who clearly are in the hot and control of globalism, corporatism and institutional powers that don't care about ordinary Americans, are anything other than a detrimental outcome when it comes to November? Let me know what you think. Click that link in the description. Join us. Time now for Vivek Ramaswamy. It's a fantastic conversation. I hope you're